What if the most powerful tool for learning wasn't in some heavy textbook, but in something you see literally every single day? Today, we're going to explore how a simple shadow can teach us not just about science, but about the very nature of how we learn. It's all about unlocking that curiosity. So let's dive right in.
Okay, before we jump in, a quick but really important heads up. This isn't something you can just listen to in the background. To really get this method, I want to encourage you to pause as we go, maybe grab a pen and paper, and actually think with us. Active participation is the key to unlocking a whole new way of thinking about education for you and for your children. So let's start with a really big question, one that I think a lot of parents and teachers struggle with. We all see that incredible natural curiosity in young children, right? That endless stream of why? But then, what happens to that spark when they get into a traditional school setting? Why does it so often feel like it starts to fade away? And this really breaks it down, doesn't it? On one side, you've got rote learning. It's all about memorizing facts and being terrified of making a mistake. It's about being told what to think. But on the other side, you have real learning. It's about asking questions, learning from your experiments, and discovering answers. It's all about understanding why. One path can create so much anxiety around learning, while the other builds a real sense of joy and confidence.
Okay, so if the old way isn't working, what's the alternative? Let's explore a totally different path forward. This is an inquiry-based approach, championed by the educator Sobia Noreen. And this method? It's all about fostering self-reliance and sparking that natural love of learning again.
And this right here is the absolute core of the whole philosophy. It's a massive shift in thinking. See, instead of the teacher being this fountain of all information, the child is empowered. They're the ones asking their own questions, designing their own little experiments, and finding their own answers. They basically become little scientists right in their own home. This all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how does it actually work in practice? Let's get into a fascinating case study from a real online class. They decided to tackle a huge real-world event, a lunar eclipse that had just happened the night before.
All right, so I want you to imagine this for a second. You're the teacher. How on earth do you even begin to explain something as complex as a blood moon to a group of young kids? I mean, you could pull out some complicated diagrams or give a long, boring lecture, but this session, well, it took a much more creative and honestly a much more effective approach.
And what's so brilliant about this method is just how simple it is. You start with something huge and captivating, like the eclipse, and then you boil it down to one single, understandable concept, a shadow. From there, it's all hands-on, using stuff you've already got at home. And the most important rule? The kids are in charge. They lead the discovery. And this is where the magic happens. After just playing around with some balloons and a torch, a child has that genuine aha moment. In their own words, they explain the eclipse. The Earth just blocked the light. That isn't a definition they memorized from a textbook. It's a piece of knowledge they actually earned. And that understanding? It's theirs forever now.
So from that key moment, the whole session just pivots. It dives head first into this discovery method. The teacher so cleverly shifts the focus from this giant thing in space, the lunar eclipse, to the immediate curiosity of the children, which was now all about shadows themselves. And you know what? It's really important to get this. Real learning isn't always neat and tidy. It can be messy and chaotic. During the session, the kids got wonderfully sidetracked talking about their toys and other random ideas. But those aren't distractions. They're actually part of a real, authentic, and joyful learning process. That beautiful chaos is often where the best discoveries are made. And that's when the teacher, just brilliantly, brings it all back to one simple, powerful question that every single kid could investigate right then and there. How is a shadow made? Shadow kaise banta hai? This took the learning from some abstract idea way out in space and put it right into their own hand. And guess what they figured out? Not from a book, but just by playing around with a torch in a dark room. They discovered the 3 essential ingredients you need to make a shadow: a source of light, roshni ka zariya, an object, koi cheez, and finally, a surface to see it on, koi sata. It's a simple concept, but the real power comes from the fact that they figured it out all by themselves. Okay, so now it's your turn. The best way to really get this kind of learning is to try it out for yourselves. So parents, and especially all the kids watching this, get ready for your very own explorer's mission. Here is your mission should you choose to accept it. Go find 10 different objects from around your house. Use a torch or a phone light as your light source. Your goal is to just play with their shadows. See what happens when you move the object closer to the light or further away. When does the shadow get bigger? When does it get smaller? Be a detective and write down your discoveries.
And really, this brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. Real learning isn't about collecting a bunch of facts. It's about developing a mindset of curiosity, a mindset that can find the laws of physics hiding in a simple shadow. So I'll leave you with this question. What secrets are hiding in plain sight all around you, just waiting for you to discover them?
Just a quick heads up before we finish. This explainer is an AI-generated summary of Sobia Noreen's session, so some of the phrasing might not be her exact words. If you have any questions at all, we would absolutely love to see them in the comments below. Everything we've talked about today, all these amazing concepts, they come from the incredible work of Sobia Noreen. If you are inspired by this approach and you want to learn more, please don't hesitate to reach out to her directly. Thanks so much for joining us, and happy exploring.